Welcome to a new edition of BROC Talk. I'm your host, Pamela Shambo. BROC Community Action in southwestern Vermont is an anti-poverty agency that offers a variety of programs and services to people who reside throughout Rutland and Bennington counties. On this month's show, you'll learn all about Vermont HealthConnect and how to get help from the staff at BROC navigating the system. I'm very excited to have with me, all the way from Waterbury, Victoria Jarvis, who's the Assistant Program Manager at the state level, and Amy Fales, one of BROC's certified navigators in our Rutland office. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thanks for coming down, Victoria. And you know, we barely made it here. Little construction activity going on out there.
It's a beautiful drive, though.
Yeah, great. I'm very happy to have you here.
Thanks.
So I wanted to start with you, Victoria, since you are from the state level, a little bit of history about Vermont HealthConnect, if you could share.
Yep, the exchange, the Vermont state-based exchange, was established in 2013 when the American Affordable Care Act was established. Vermont chose to be a state-based marketplace, which means that we have our own office which handles the enrollment and post-enrollment activities of Vermonters. So we built it by Vermonters for Vermonters.
Right, right. And I think that's important because it really, we kind of went our own way, you know.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
It sounds like we've made some strides in it.
Absolutely.
And now we're getting close to that date. I think there's a date where we do have to go with the federal plan, isn't there? No? We can
Nope.
stay a Vermont?
We're going to try to stay a state-based marketplace.
State-based?
So we'll
Oh,
stay
great.
separate from the healthcare.gov website. You'll always be talking to a local person when you call to discuss your plans.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And so I've looked at some of this information and I know we're getting it out there. We're doing a lot of outreach. Amy, you can attest to that. I've been doing it at info tables and other BROC staff have been out there doing it locally. But you see the people one-on-one.
Absolutely. And I can't tell you the importance of being there for the people because insurance is such a difficult thing to understand, even for the most educated.
Right.
So when you're working with everyday Joes like myself, it's important to have someone like myself and other navigators that can explain everything in a means that they understand.
Right.
You know, and kind of eliminating that insurance jargon, all that talk, and getting down to what it really means for them, and helping them steer them down the right path to the plan that would best suit their needs. So.
And I would imagine that it's really important when most of the folks that, I would say a good percentage of the folks that we see may not have computers that they can go on and access the site, which in itself could be a little overwhelming anyway, because I've gone on personally just to look at it, and it looks like it could be a little daunting to navigate and find out what that's about. So to be able to come on in and sit with you, to have you explain even, you know, step by step what it's about, I'm sure that must put them a little more at ease. And I understand that some of the costs still dishearten folks, I would imagine. How does that go?
It is definitely a difficult conversation, especially folks that might not necessarily be used to thinking about deductibles or premiums. You know, someone that maybe had a life change and now they're over Medicaid threshold. So it's a daunting experience for them, you know, because they have to learn to budget in not only their premium, but they have to also budget in that now I have a deductible to meet and what that means for them when they go to the doctor. So it's difficult, but you know, people are comforted with the knowledge that I'm able to provide for them, and you know, I'm certainly there for them to lean on when they have questions and concerns. But yeah, it's a difficult process for them when they're making that switch.
And how is that for those that are, say, like low income, you know, making minimum wage, let's say? How does that work with the subsidy, Victoria? I know there
Well,
is a subsidy.
Yes, there is. The important thing to remember is that Vermont has expanded Medicaid, which means that we will insure anybody under the Medicaid program at 138% of the federal poverty level. Basically, that translates into a single person can make around $14,000 a year
Okay.
and still qualify for Medicaid. Once the federal poverty level exceeds 138%, then we can start offering subsidies through a plan with the exchange.
Okay.
And it's great. It's called advanced premium tax credits. We basically take the income that we suspect you're going to make throughout the year, and we balance that against a tax credit at the end of the year. So you
Okay.
can receive that tax credit throughout the year to help you pay for premiums.
To help you pay for premiums. Okay. And then what happens at the end of the year?
At the end of the year, you receive a tax form from us called a 1095, and that shows you all the months that you were insured, which is very important because there's also a penalty if
Correct.
you're not covered during part of the year.
Right.
But we'll show you each month what you were covered with and how much advanced premium tax credits you went, and then you'll take that form to a tax professional, very important, to let them help you balance your taxes at the end of the year.
Calculate it out.
Absolutely.
So it's probably not as easy to do your own taxes through this program now. I mean, you can probably
Absolutely, yeah.
because it's in some of the tax programs that are online. You can, it's still tells you, you know, if you have this form, put the dollar amounts in or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the penalties are for those that are uninsured, correct?
Yes, and it's very important to understand the penalty. It's $696 per person or 2.5% of the income, whichever is greater.
Oh, wow.
And so that can really add up throughout the year. But the important thing to remember is you can always come to the exchange and enroll either in the Medicaid program or with a qualified health plan if you've had a life change. So for instance, if you move, lose your job, have a change in income, you can give us a call and we can tell you about the plans that you qualify for. We can help you balance out your advanced premium tax credits and your Vermont Premium Assistance, which is a special program just for Vermonters, and that also helps pay for that premium. So those two important components added together can really bring down your premium cost.
So can you give me an example of like what's an average or what some of the programs do look like, Amy? Some of the different
The plans.
choices? Yeah,
Sure.
the plans.
So if we're working with an individual that is over income for Medicaid, so they need to choose a qualified health plan, they'll get an eligibility determination from from VTHealthConnect, and it's all income based. So the lower your income is, the more tax credit you'll receive, and
Okay.
vice versa. And then basically they take that and they can apply it monthly. So for instance, with a bronze plan, the bronze plans are going to be the lowest cost per month, highest deductibles. Platinums are the highest cost per month premium, lowest deductibles, and gold and silver kind of fall in the middle. And so I'm just going to throw a random number out there.
Sure.
Let's say the cost of a plan is $375 a month, and you've been determined eligible to receive $350 in tax credits.
Okay.
What that means is at the end of the day, you'll be paying $25 per month for your health insurance premium. So that's kind of like the really bare bones way of explaining how they work. With silver plans, there is an additional financial benefit to it if you qualify. It's called a cost sharing reduction. And the easiest way to explain a cost sharing reduction, at least for me, is where the advanced premium tax credit lowers premiums. The cost sharing reductions really target deductibles and co-pays that you might pay.
Okay.
So if you're found eligible for a cost sharing reduction with the silver plans, it will also lower those deductibles, which is a big deal for folks that maybe, like I said before, folks that are transitioning or just have a limited income. They can maybe choose a little bit better plan for themselves that's a little bit more value to them with those lower deductibles, because the bronze deductibles are a little higher.
The one thing I wanted to make sure that people knew. I did see that there, even if they have the high deductibles, there are some basic services that are automatically covered no matter what. They don't even have to, your general health care, correct?
That's
like
correct.
Your office visits.
So-
not office visits, but like, you can explain it better than I, I'm sure. But the preventative services,
preventive,
thank you. I couldn't
yes.
come up with the word. Preventative services.
Yes. So when the ACA was enacted, one of the goals is to promote wellness,
Right.
and they want people using their insurance so that they can catch problems before they become bigger problems.
Right.
So with that being said, preventive measures. So for example, your once yearly checkup at the
Right,
doctor,
right.
things such as mammograms, colonoscopies, OBGYN visits, flu shots if that's something you get. Those are all considered preventive services. Therefore, you can go have one of these services done and you don't have to worry about having met your deductible,
Right, so
nor
that's
is there
all
any
part of it.
copay.
Okay.
So the idea again is to promote that wellness and be healthier.
So that's something I don't know if people are nervous about, if they're thinking, I'm uninsured, I can't even go and, get my annual or whatever. I see people come in and out of your office all day long, and you're never sure when you see their faces when they leave if they're happy, or if they're just confused, still, because they've got to go make that decision. I think that's maybe mostly what it is, because all you're giving them is the information. You're not able to make the decision for them.
Correct.
You're just sending them out the door with, here are your choices. And at the end of the day, they've got to make that difficult choice. But it always bothered me when I first knew about this, how high the deductibles are. And what was the reason for that? Do you have any background on that, Victoria? Why they made the deductibles so high for folks on these plans?
Well, if you recall back in the 90s, we had a lot of HMOs.
Yes.
And the thing about HMOs is you can go to the doctor and you're going to pay a set fee, for instance, a copay,
Right.
every time you go. But there was no cap on how much you would end up paying.
Right.
So, you could go to the hospital, you could have a surgery, and that surgery could cost $45,000, and you'd still
Correct.
be incurring costs that whole way through.
Right.
And there was no cap on how much you would end up spending at the end of the year. So a deductible is designed to cap how much you spend throughout the year. And that's true. It can be very high if you're choosing a plan where you have lower premiums.
Right.
So if you choose a plan like the Bronze plan, which is a great plan, but it does have the lowest premiums, which means you're going to pay more out of pocket. So
Right.
what we try to think about is not just the deductible or just the copay or co-insurance, which is when you pay a percentage for your visit.
Correct.
It's that we want to look at the totality of how much you pay for out-of-pocket costs. That means not only your deductible, but how much do you pay when you go to the pharmacy? How much do you
Right.
pay if you have to go to the physical therapist?
Right.
It's important to look at the whole entire picture of what we call the medical landscape. We do have tools on our website that can help with that. We have a plan comparison tool that you can put in how much you spend per month on your medical costs, and that will show you what each plan type will give you as far as deductibles and co-insurances and copays, and it'll show you how each plan will help you recover your out-of-pocket costs for the most reasonable premium to pay. So we do have tools on the website that can help you make that decision. We don't want you to have to make that decision feeling like there's no one to support you. In the end, I think that the best person to support you will always be an assister, especially a navigator. But in the end, we want to make sure that no matter what way you get to us, whether it be talking to someone on the phone or coming in to see a navigator or even going online, that you have all the tools you need at your fingertips to really help you make that very important, deeply personal decision about healthcare coverage.
And I will say that the website is very comprehensive. You've covered almost everything. I see all the tools and the links and the resources that are available on it. And if folks are able to get on a computer and then navigate it. It is a fantastic website. So now, one thing I wanted to talk about is the different enrollment periods. How does that work? I know right now, what are we in? What kind of enrollment period?
We aren't really in necessarily any type of enrollment period. Every year there is an open enrollment period.
Okay.
Typically, November 1st to January 31st is a typical, maybe with a little bit of a fluctuation. But and during that time every year, if you're enrolled in a plan already, that gives you an opportunity. If you say, well, maybe this plan's not working for me,
Oh, okay.
I can switch plans or
Okay.
whatnot. Or if you're not insured, and that's your opportunity to get enrolled in a health plan. Once open enrollment is over, and this is a message that many Vermonters miss, is once open enrollment is closed, then the only way that you can enroll in a qualified health plan is with some sort of qualifying event.
Okay.
The only exception to this open enrollment deal is Medicaid, because Medicaid you can enroll in at any time. The open enrollment period does not apply to Medicaid. But for someone that's not eligible for Medicaid outside of that open enrollment period, so when I say a qualifying event, maybe a birth, a marriage, a divorce, just moved to Vermont, job loss, income change, those sorts of things do qualify as a qualifying event, and at which point you would meet with a navigator, go online, call the call center, and go through and choose a plan. But without one of those types of events, then unfortunately there's no way to enroll in a qualified health plan outside that open enrollment period.
And do people, basically the word gets out there that, probably any way and every way you get that word out there that
Absolutely.
this is the open enrollment period and you have to do it now.
Yes, absolutely. It's very important. In order to have a change to your plan for January 1st, it's really important that you go online or call us or speak to a navigator by December 15th, so we can get those changes made to your plan so that the coverage will change and start new for you on the 1st of January.
Oh, okay. So even in that enrollment period of time, it's still December 15th is the best date to shoot for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then, so what is the special enrollment? Was that the certain life events you were talking about?
Yeah, so if you're someone that maybe is losing employer-sponsored insurance, you
Oh,
had
I
a
see.
job, and this is just an example,
Yep,
there's many things,
yep.
but so someone, say, loses a job and their insurance ended July 31st.
Mm-hmm.
That is considered a qualifying event, and they're granted a special enrollment period, which is for 60 days.
Okay.
And during that time period, they can, go onto the exchange, call, meet with a navigator, and get enrolled in a qualified health plan. But once that special enrollment period is closed, if you've missed that window, then you'd have to wait until the next open enrollment.
Basically, it's really important to communicate with us. If you have a plan with us, with Vermont HealthConnect, anytime you have a life change, because for instance, if you have a qualified health plan with subsidies and your income changes, we need to adjust your APTC so that it's not overbalanced at the end of the year when you go to file taxes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because what will happen in the simplest way to explain is the advanced premium tax credit is exactly what it is. It's an advance based on a projection that you make as this is what's going to be my income
Oh,
for
I
the
see.
coming year.
Yes,
So
yes.
reporting those income changes is critical, either to the positive or the negative if you're making more income or less. And so, for instance, what it means is if you you meet with me in March and you had some sort of qualifying event, you get enrolled and you project this is what your income's going to be. You get your eligibility determination, and then say in July you get a new job and you're making, significantly more money but fail to report that. When you file your income taxes for 2016, they're going to reconcile it against your
Right.
taxes and say, well, you made more than
More.
what you projected, so
Okay.
we gave you too much subsidy. So when you
they're
file
gonna
your
take it
yeah,
out.
they're going to take it out, and
okay.
vice versa. If
Yep,
you fail to
right.
report an income reduction, you'll actually get a little bit
I see.
back in your
So
taxes.
that is critical to report
Very critical.
income changes, especially.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
And
I
I
bet
don't-
a lot of people don't even think about
Yeah.
that.
They don't.
They
yeah.
don't.
Oh, wow. And then
Absolutely.
you're getting the call saying, what happened? You
Yeah.
took money out of my taxes.
Yeah, and it leads to a lot of confusion that
Yeah.
we don't want people to have.
Yeah.
We, it's very tough because not everybody is the same.
Of course not.
You could live in a household and you could have your grandparents living there and they may be on Medicare.
Right.
And you could have a child and they would be on Dr. Dinosaur. And you could have your own employer-sponsored insurance, but perhaps your partner doesn't work, so they come to the exchange. You could have, 6 or 7 different health coverage
In the same household.
in the same household.
Yeah.
So we can help you navigate that, but it's really important that you communicate with us, your life changes, because we can help you adjust the premium.
So it's almost like with this, there isn't a family plan.
No.
Like you would
no,
have at
no.
at an employer,
Yeah.
you can get on a family plan.
Yeah.
So it's everybody
Yeah.
has their own thing.
And it's
Oh,
amazing
wow.
to me. I've been doing this since the ACA was enacted, and it's absolutely astounding how there is no one household that is the same. I mean,
Absolutely.
this family
Right.
of 4 and this family of 4 are 2 different entities altogether, and so it's been really interesting to just, it really opens your eyes to the diversity and the need for assistance when you're navigating this type of thing, because something that you might not think is important
Yeah,
actually
absolutely.
is very important.
Right.
So
And BROC, I have Amy here today on the show, but BROC has more navigators. We have 3 or 4?
4, including
Total.
Bennington, right?
Yes.
Yes.
We have 1 in Bennington or 2 in Bennington. I think we have Beth and Marianne, don't we?
Oh, yep,
And
Marianne,
we
yes.
have Amy
Myself
and
and
Sherry
Sherry.
in Rutland. So please feel free to also call our Bennington office at 447-7515 if you happen to see the show when it gets uploaded there. And we have navigators there to help, just like Amy and Sherry in Rutland. And the numbers are going to be up on the screen for Victoria's office, so you certainly could reach anybody up there if you have questions. And please feel free to visit this website. It is amazing what you will learn. And if you had questions even from that, give a call to either lady or just whoever answers your phone. I don't think I gave your personal number. I'm not sure. I might have given
I'd
your
be happy
cell
to help, but-
accidentally.
Better
You might
people
be
than me to
getting a
help.
lot of calls. But I think we've learned a lot today. And I think this system it's just interesting to me still, again, when I think about the low-income people that this is affecting. And, all about what we're trying to do is get people self-sufficient. And it's not a diss to this system in a way, because I think insurance is important.
Yep.
I think healthcare is important.
Very.
But having said that, I think that it's put them a step back in a way when they have to think about paying out the deductibles. When they, in some cases, it's become a little bit of a barrier again. The lower income people, when they can afford, So now they're back to, how do I pay the school, get my kids' school clothes and things like that. Balancing that whole budget again. And that's what we're there for, though. We're there to catch them on those other issues too.
Absolutely,
And
you
BROC
should
is
contact
there.
us, because
Exactly.
we have a lot of programs to help
Right.
people.
And you do those referrals too, though.
Absolutely,
You
yeah.
You
We
send them
want
to
to help
places
people.
like BROC and the other community action agencies in the state.
Yep.
It's not just us. There are 4 others that
Yeah.
you work with. So
Well, we have 233 assisters
Right.
throughout the states.
Right.
We have a navigator in every county.
correct.
We want to make sure that people have in-person assistance wherever they go, and they should be able to have in-person assistance locally. So they should speak with someone like Amy that they know in the community that they're familiar with, and that they know understands how their own community has needs that are unique to them.
Correct.
But we also have a great customer support center who is online 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every Monday through Friday. And you know, there's people who in the community who are there to advocate if there's an issue post-enrollment. We just really want Vermonters to know that they're very well supported by the program.
Absolutely.
We really respect that they are struggling with these issues with healthcare coverage. It's changed a lot just in the last 5 years. But we really want to know that they're supported and that Vermonters everywhere throughout the state have the ability to find someone who can help them navigate their healthcare coverage.
Well, we don't want them not going to doctors.
Exactly.
And not getting the health care they need, that's for sure. Because that just makes an unhealthy population, and we definitely don't want that. And like we said, with Amy sitting right in our office and being an employee of BROC and knowing our other programs and services, what a great wraparound. You know, she can sit there and refer them to all the other things we have to offer. And in Bennington also we do that. So it's a great service that we're able to bring. We got the actual grant this year to be the navigator, and we're very happy about that. And I really appreciate that you could come down and speak with us. And
thank you. It was an honor
got to
be
bring
here.
our big banner. And, that was a big plus. And we will be out in the community a lot more, and hope you can join us there too sometime.
I'd love to. I love Rutland.
Yeah.
We came down for the Opportunities Festival, and
Yes.
it was great.
Yes.
I really love the people in Rutland. Any chance I can get out of Waterbury and come down here, I absolutely would.
It's a pleasure to have you. And anybody that would like more information, please contact Amy. Again, go on the website, and any of this information will be on BROC's website and our Facebook page. We are always putting information up there, so please check it out. We will have the numbers up there on Facebook for folks to check it out. I will put up some of this information with some of these flyers for you to see. And I thank you for joining us, and that's another edition of BROC Talk.